There is no sound now.
Come on, I don't know if it's just me, but I don't think I heard Maulana now. I don't know.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think I
oh,
was
there
on
we
mute.
Okay.
Um, what is it saying now? So yes, we were supposed to do hadith number 6 in the 40 hadith of Imam Nawawi rahimahullah ta'ala. Right? We were supposed to do it 2 weeks ago, but I chose to do other hadith instead. Um, the hadith of losing scholars. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala not to remove ilm from us. We are in dire need of it. Um, I mean, last week we didn't read any of these hadith. So we'll continue today with Allah ta'ala. عن أبي عبد الله النعمان ابن بشير رضي الله عنهما. The hadith is narrated by Nu'man ibn Bashir, both of them were Sahaba, رضي الله عنهما. قال, he said, سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول, I heard the messenger of Allah صلى الله عليه وسلم say, إن الحلال بين وإن الحرام بين. Indeed, the halal is clear. وَإِنَّ الْحَرَامَ بَيِّنٌ, and indeed the haram is clear. وَبَيْنَهُمَا أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَاتٌ, and between them are things that are dubious, they are dubious matters. أُمُورٌ مُشْتَبِهَات, or unclear matters. لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. Most people do not know them. لا يعلمهن. لا يعلم does not know. هن, them, referring to the مشتبهات. كثير من الناس, most people. Most people is the فاعل of لا يعلم. لا يعلمهن كثير من الناس. فمن اتقى الشبهات فقد استبرأ لدينه وعرضه. فمن اتقى, so whoever, اتقى, اتقى means what? اتقى, you know the word taqwa from there. اتقى can also mean to shield against something, or yeah, to avoid. So فمن اتقى الشبهات, so whoever avoids the shubuhat, the unclear matters, فقد, then certainly استبرأ, استبرأ, he has, istibra is like to claim innocence. Here in the translation they use the word exonerated. فقد استبرأ, then certainly he has exonerated لدينه, his way of life, وعرضه, and his honor. Meaning he's basically ensured that his deen and his ird, his honor, is free, meaning free of any crime. If a person avoids the doubtful matters, he will have ensured that his way of life and his honor is unsullied, if you want. It's free of any blemish. Like, and that comes from the root bari. I'm bari, ana bari'un mink. I'm free from you. There's no relationship. So, فَقَدْ اسْتَبْرَأَ لِدِينِهِ وَعِرْضِهِ, he has ensured that his deen and his ird, his honor, are unsullied. وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ, and whoever وَقَعَ, وَقَعَ means to fall. So, وَمَنْ وَقَعَ فِي الشُّبُهَاتِ, whoever falls into shubuhat, into dubious matters, ambiguous matters, وَقَعَ فِي الْحَرَامِ, he will fall into haram. He will fall into haram. كالراعي يرعى حول الحمى, like a shepherd, يرعى حول الحمى, he grazes his sheep around a hima. Hima is like a protected place. the sanctuary. He is allowing his sheep to graze close by a sanctuary or a preserved place. يوشك أن يرتع فيه. يوشك أن يرتع فيه. It's only inevitable or is on the verge of. It's very likely and it's on the verge of grazing inside that sanctuary. That he lets his sheep eat the grass around the place, that they, on the border of a place that they're not supposed to eat from, it's very likely that they will eat from those preserved pastures. Then he says, ألا وإن لكل ملك حمى. Behold, indeed, every king, وإن لكل ملك, for every king, حمى, there is a preserved space, or there is a sanctuary. ألا وإن حمى الله محارمه. Behold, وَإِنَّ حِمَ اللَّهِ, and indeed the sacred place or the preserved space of Allah is maharimuhu, His prohibitions, the things that Allah has made prohibited. أَلَا وَإِنَّ فِي الْجَسَدِ مُضْغَةً. Behold, certainly fil jasadi, in the body there is mudghatan, a lump of flesh. إذا صلحت, when it is sound. صلح, صالح means for something to be appropriate or preserved or sound. إذا صلحت, when it is sound. صلح الجسد كله, then the entire body is sound. وإذا فسدت, and when it is corrupted. فسد الجسد كله, then the entire body is corrupted. ألا وهي القلب. Behold, it is القلب, it is the heart. This is a number of things mentioned in this hadith. We start off, halal is clear, haram is clear. In between is dubious matters. In between the dubious or unclear matters. Right? Most people don't know on their own how to navigate that way. So Rasulullah is already saying most people don't know what they are. But what's the advice? Whoever stays away from the doubtful, he will have ensured his safety. He will ensure that he has committed no crime. That he will have preserved his deen and his honor. But whoever allows himself to fall into those dubious matters, it's very likely, or he's on the verge of falling into haram. Like a shepherd who grazes his flock on the border of a preserved space, it's very likely, and he's like on the verge of grazing in that space. Behold, every king has a sanctuary. The sanctuary of Allah is his prohibited things. And then, behold, in the body there is a lump of flesh. When it is sound, the entire body is sound. When it is corrupted, the entire body is corrupted. That is the heart. The number of things that we can discuss in this hadith. The first thing is that as Muslims, the norm in our life is that we live within the bounds of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's our expectation at every single moment, to do that which is halal, to stay away from that which is haram. And in most cases, it's very clear what's halal and what's haram. Right? We live in a time in which the moral compass, of people, the moral epistemology, the moral conclusions, the morality of people is under attack. Is under attack. But Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that halal is clear and haram is clear. Don't go into it. Right? It's very clear. Most people know how to live by that. Everybody knows drinking is haram. Everybody knows stealing is haram. Everybody knows gambling is haram. Everybody knows sexual deviance is haram. Everybody knows zina is haram. Everybody knows all of those things. That's very clear cut. There's no dispute in that. Homosexuality, all of those things, relations outside of marriage, haram. There's no two ways about it. It's not unclear. People now come and try to make those things unclear. But we should maintain our morality and our moral positions. Right? We don't turn to any source other than Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and the Quran primarily to guide us in that regard. Right? So most of it's clear. But then there are some matters in which there is doubt or that are dubious. So what do we do in that case? What you are doubtful of, don't partake. Don't partake. Right? Does anybody have any questions then?
Mulana, is it
Assalamualaikum.
what you are doubtful or what is considered to be doubtful? Because you may not have any doubt, but the general public may have doubt.
Right. Very good question. I mean, that is actually what I wanted to hear being asked. Here you must understand that people have different levels of knowledge and people have different perspectives, right? And so one thing can be clear to me but unclear to another person. If I'm clear on something, then I can follow that clarity. If they are doubtful of it, then they should avoid it. For example, um, I don't want to use the example because I don't want to encourage this, but I was gonna use like halal food, but it's safer for people to just follow certification. But say for example, I go to a place, right? I'm traveling. I'm in Europe. Um, I don't know where to find halal food, so I go to a place. Um, I ask the people. I ask them a lot of questions. I ask them to show me around the kitchen, and I see that there's no unhalal ingredients there. Everything's halal. Maybe it's the fisheries and everything is halal. So to me, there's no doubt that this food is halal. So I eat. Right? It's not a problem for me. But then somebody else comes and he sees something that causes him doubt that the food is halal. Maybe he sees some, you know, pig lard in what things are being fried in, or he has a suspicion of that for some reason. Um, then for him there is doubt. He should avoid unless he can clarify that doubt. But I am not expected to refrain from something that other people doubting if I have clarity. Another example of that would be the example that I gave about the sighting of the moon before, right? If I see the moon with my own two eyes, it's the 29th day of Ramadan. The 20 Maghrib time comes, I fasted 29 days. I go outside, I see the moon with my own two eyes. Right? But the Qadi doesn't want to accept my sighting. I don't fast the next day because I'm certain I saw the moon. I can't doubt my own vision. Right? But for everybody else, they must follow what the Qadi says. They must follow what the Qadi says. So that's an example of something being clear for me but unclear for everyone else. So the Sharia allows me the ability to follow what is clear to me. I'm seeing suggestions here, and I don't want to go off into big tangents. The vaccine and the concept of halal-friendly outlets. So two very different things. But
Mulana, Maf,
yes,
um, your reasoning or the person's reasoning for it to be create certainty in their mind should be based on Sharia principles, not something that conforms to their nafs. It has to be based on Sharia.
Of course, definitely. Like I can't go to a place and I think, okay, I don't check everything out, but I just think to myself, nah, man, this is like just breeds over here. And I like breeds, man. Yeah, this is halal. No, you can't do it. You can't do that. It has to be based on, what the Sharia requires of you to have certainty in those regards. Um, So yeah, that's true what you're saying. Your judgment must be based on Sharia, and if you don't have the ability to make that judgment, then you should refrain until you can get correct Sharia guidance on the matter, maybe from somebody else that does know how to assess the matter in light of Sharia. Um, uh, so yeah, I mean, in relation to the vaccine, Sharia places the yardstick for what is required in relation to medication, even if it has unhalal substances in it. You just need to have two upright Muslim doctors in general, or, on the strictest condition. You don't have a necessary or as effective alternative, and you have two Muslim doctors. We have like a whole plethora of Muslim experts that are guiding us, and so we don't have to doubt the saying, and we shouldn't allow doubts to be created in ourselves and in the rulings of recognized scholars, simply by information that we don't necessarily know how to process or know the authenticity of. Um, so that's what I would say in relation to the vaccine. Um, in relation to halal friendly outlets, um, if a place says that they're halal friendly, you must know that you take the responsibility upon yourself to ensure that they are halal. I have a number of friends that are chefs, non-Muslim chef in my area, Dexter. He told me he works at a hotel that's halal friendly, and he told me, yeah, bruh, this stuff is not halal.
Yes,
There's
there's a post going around now at the moment, and Alhamdulillah, it's a non-Muslim that is shedding the light on that it is unhalal, because nobody behind the
you can't say
scenes there.
you can't
No,
say that it is unhalal, but there's no process in place to ensure that it is halal.
yes, because they don't even have those that are involved in the food. They do not have the know-how of how to deal with. So
Yeah.
the processes of contamination, and it's widespread in the kitchen.
Yeah, no, definitely. But at the same time, right, you must understand, you must be able to differentiate between what's halal and haram and what's unclear matters. For example, there's a micro bakery in Gordons Bay. Um, there's a micro bakery in Gordons Bay. They bake breads and stuff from home. Well, I'm not sure it's from home or what, but I wanted to ascertain whether they're halal or not. I know they're not going to get halal certification. So I mean, what I did is I basically created all the questions that I thought I needed to know to ensure that the place is halal. What utensils are they using? They're not using big forehead brushes. They're not using alcohol in the stuff. They're not using like, um, uh, they're not using
Gelatin
cross-contaminated
anymore.
ovens, etc. All of those things. So I mean, I had all those questions. If they were able to show me, and I was confident that they answered all of those questions satisfactorily, um, I may have bought a bread from them. But because they were unclear on some of them, I didn't. And the thing is, it requires you the ability to know what to ask. So, in general, my principle is, and that's why I didn't actually want to go into this. My general practice is promote the idea of supporting those places that are certified and that will encourage other places to certify as well. But so in general, I'll tell people just certify. I mean, just eat where the places are certified. Why I mention that is because you may find somebody, you know, eating something that you are not sure of. You shouldn't think that they're doing something haram. You shouldn't think wrong of them. You shouldn't have the worst thought of them. It may be you can advise them and tell them, look, have you checked? But it may be that they checked and they are confident that it is halal. You shouldn't think bad of them at the first thought. But you yourself, if you have the doubt, you should refrain. Um, and that's an important principle, right? We oftentimes have people, uh, you know, they're very quick to judge other people. In fact, the story comes to my mind of Abdullah ibn Mubarak, rahimahullah, a great scholar of Islam. And there's a number of narrations of a similar narration. But the one is something like this, and I think it is recorded in Hilyatul Awliya or something. But there's a number of narrations of a similar story, where Ibn Mubarak was going on Hajj. Used to go on Hajj every year. He was going on Hajj, and then somewhere along his journey, he found some children eating carrion, right? So that's like meat of animal that wasn't slaughtered properly. So essentially, it's haram to eat. You can't eat it. It's haram, right? So you saw these children eating the haram, taking it to the family and partaking in this haram meat. And then he went and he inquired about them. And upon inquiry, he was informed that they literally didn't have anything to eat. And that's why they were eating that carrion. So for them, it was halal, but for everyone else, it was haram. And so instead of thinking bad of them, he gave them all his money and he returned home. He didn't go on Hajj. And then some people saw in some dreams that the Hajj was accepted. Another account of the story is that there was a cobbler, a shoemaker, who Ibn Mubarak, he had a dream that the Hajj of all of the Hujjaj of a specific year, all of their Hajj was accepted on account of one man. This man was a shoemaker. So he went to the shoemaker, or he sought out this person. In his dream, he had some direction and he sought out this person. He went to the area, who's the shoemaker here, and he found the shoemaker. And then he asked him, like, what is it that he did? That on account of him, all of the Hajj of all of the Hujjaj was accepted. And then the shoemaker said, but I didn't even go on Hajj this year. I intended to go on Hajj, and I had my money saved. But I was passing by my neighbor one day, and I got the smell of meat. Meat wasn't a common thing for them to eat. I got the smell of meat coming from the house. So, and I wanted some, so I asked them to give me some. But then they told me that it's halal for them, but it's haram for me. So he understood that they were in such poverty that it was permissible for them to eat this carrion, but not for him. So instead of going on Hajj, he took all the money that he had saved for Hajj and he gave it to this poor family, this destitute family, and he remained at home, thinking that he would go another year, some other time when Allah afforded him the opportunity. And then Abdullah ibn Mubarak saw this dream in which the Hajj of all of the Hujjaj was accepted on account of him. The point that I'm making is it's an example of in our Turath, in our legacy of not assuming bad of people. So if there's something that you have doubt in, it doesn't necessarily mean that everybody else has doubt in that thing. They may have removed their doubt, and that's why they are partaking. So don't think bad of people. So there's two things here. There's the principle that when you have doubt, the best thing for you to do is to refrain. The second lesson is that if I doubt in something, I shouldn't always think that everybody else doubts in that thing as well. Right? Such that I expect of them to necessarily refrain. So, yeah. Are there any questions on that? I saw Irshad's hand was up earlier.
Maulana, sometimes it is, especially at your workplace, and so your bosses at the end of year functions and stuff, it's other Muslims that are putting you in a difficult position with regards. Now Maulana says we mustn't think bad because they might have removed the that part of them, but you still have doubt, and you actually have certainty that those, you are certain in your doubt that
Okay,
place is doubtful.
Yeah. No, look, if you're certain that a place is haram and you see a Muslim eating there, then you must inform them. Then you don't think, oh, no, maybe they. No. Certainty and doubt don't come together. If I know, look here, this place, they tell people they're halal friendly, but definitely they're not, and I have reason to say that, then you need to check. Then you need to check, or you need to inform them as well. So it's not like a completely pacifist approach that I just think good of everyone, and I think that no wrong can exist in the world. No. I'm saying when you're not certain, but if you're certain that there is, look here, this place is not halal. There's definitely cross contamination that happened or something like that. Then you should inform. You should inform whoever it is, right? And tell them, look, give them naseehah in a good way, in a beautiful way, but give the naseehah. So I'm not saying just think good of people, happy go lucky, everybody can do what they want to. No. When something is wrong, then we must be clear on what is wrong. That's why we have these categories. Certain things are haram, certain things are halal, they're clear. Then in the middle, there's dubious matters. And that's where we have to find ourselves navigating through correctly. Yeah. What about everything they're using is halal, but they don't start with Allah's name when they make the food or something? That's not a condition for making food, as long as the ingredients are halal and there's no unhalal element. The question of starting with Allah's name would come in relation to the slaughter of animals, not necessarily in relation to the beginning of making food. But that's a technicality. So I think we'll end there. There's maybe one or two more things that I'll comment on this hadith next week, but we're in there for now, and then we'll pick up again next week, inshallah. So if you have any questions, keep them for the beginning of our Naseehah session next week, or our hadith section, and then we'll pick up from there. For now, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله.
وعليكم السلام